So, it is another one of these videos where we have ourselves a long set of comments, a bunch of conversations to be had, and a big article that encapsulates everything it is that we are trying to go over. So, I'll leave a link in the description to this piece published on NHL.com by Derek Van Diest from August 8th, 2024. These are some comments made by the Montreal Canadiens GM Kent Hughes, and how he hopes Juraj Slafkovsky and the young core will take the next step. The GM believes that he has all the elements in place for the team to progress quickly this season. Now, Kent Hughes is no stranger when it comes to stirring up the Montreal Canadiens fan base. I mean, a lot of the acquisitions, a lot of the players that he gets, a lot of the draft picks and comments always seem to garner some good discussion, and I think the same could be said about this here. Because when it comes to Kent Hughes, he and a bunch of other NHL executives are attending the Ivan Gretzky tournament, which is going on in Edmonton. Or actually, I think it might have finished yesterday. I'm not really too sure entirely about that. But whilst the tournament was going on, there were NHL reporters going out there and asking some questions. This is where we got ourselves the Kent Hughes interview that we will be referring to in today's video. So, let's give it over to Derek Van Diest and read some of this article over here. Link in the description as well if you want to go ahead and read more of this on your own time. The article talks about Juraj Slafkovsky and how he has NHL star potential, and how the Canadiens plan to be patient with their first overall pick in 2022. The Habs signed Slafkovsky to an 8-year, $7.6 million AAV extension on July 1st, a deal that runs through the 25-26 season. GM Kent Hughes expects the investment to pay off over the long term. I know player development is not linear, and there are ups and downs along the way, but he, Juraj Slafkovsky that is, has handled the pressure of being a number one pick well, and he's trying to live up to that status and the expectations that come with it. Now he's got the big contract, and that comes with that. Hughes said while attending the Gretzky Cup at Rogers Place on Wednesday. Now, I will say, when it comes to the expectations, I think for Juraj Slafkovsky's benefit, the first overall pick started to trail off and not be as effective right away as we had seen in the mid-2000s and 2010s-ish. I always say this, but we did get kind of spoiled by first overall rookies like Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby. Okay, Ovi's a little bit different because he didn't play in the NHL right away. There was a lockout. But guys like Connor McDavid, guys like Austin Matthews, who went out there into the NHL right away and were awesome. 18-year-old superstar caliber-like guys. And because that was sort of the benchmark that we had come to expect out of first overall picks in that era, it became sort of disappointing when you saw guys like Jack Hughes, for example, in his rookie 18-year-old NHL season not be nearly as effective as Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid was. Alexis Lafreniere, same thing. Owen Power didn't even go to the NHL right away. He had spent one more season in the NCAA. So for Juraj Slafkovsky, I feel like there was already a benefit for him going first overall in 2022 because all the prior first overall picks weren't really at that superstar level right away to start out their NHL careers. I mean, Jack Hughes is there now, Alexis Lafreniere is starting to get there slowly, and for Juraj Slafkovsky in 2022, heading into 2024-2025, I think we're starting to see the foundation of that progress really set itself in stone. So Kent Hughes going out there and saying that, hey, it takes baby steps, but for one, he has the contract now that will put him in that spot. That for sure is something that I agree with, and I think it's great that Kent Hughes acknowledges that. We have to continue to be aware of how we manage Slafkovsky and the message we send to him. We don't need him to score 40 or 50 goals, otherwise it'll be a failure. We have to keep him progressing as a player and becoming the best version of himself, because we are convinced that the best version of Juraj Slafkovsky will give us a good chance of winning. Now, okay, calm down, Kent Hughes. I mean, 40, 50 goals would be nice, right? But at the same time, I totally get what he's getting at here. Don't want to put too high of an expectation on the guy, but at the same time, there are expectations of growth and helping the Canadiens become that team. It's all going to come with the growth of Slafkovsky. They work hand in hand together. The article then says that Hughes hopes that by the time Slafkovsky's contract ends, he will be seen as a bargain-like asset. Usually, these long-term contracts are going to result in a player being underpaid at the end of the deal, because they're making more money up front than they would have if they had signed short-term, Hughes said. So I think at the end of these deals, the salary cap should be in our favor, and if it's not, you're backing the wrong horse. So, some pretty simple contract theory coming out there from Kent Hughes. I don't think that's all too surprising. And I think for a lot of Canadiens fans, acknowledging that the NHL has been leaning towards this kind of a model for a few years now certainly makes it a lot more sensible to go down this path, especially since we're exiting the COVID era in the NHL. The salary cap is starting to get up there now. I mean, we had seen the COVID shutdown in the NHL really clamp down that salary cap in a negative way. It hurt all these teams because the cap wasn't going up, and you had seen teams like Toronto, for example, sign their guys to contracts that only made sense if the cap was going to go up year after year. So because of that flat cap, Toronto was screwed, for example. Now we're kind of heading back into the okay, let's just give our young guys 8 years and then we'll call it a day kind of territory, so Slafkovsky buys into that 110%. Montreal also signed Kaiden Guhle to a 6-year contract on July 31st, a day after agreeing to 2 seasons with Arber Xhekaj and Justin Barron. I think having Juraj and Cayden signed along with Nick and Cole is important for us, Hughes said. We're not going to be able to give everybody long-term deals, but we chose to do it with some of the kids, and they were willing to commit as well, which is great. Man, isn't it nice to have the Canadiens' core 4, or at least core 4 right now? Ivan Demidov is going to make his presence known in the team one day and probably take over that, Kaiden Guhle spot, if you want to say core 4, Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Demidov, that makes sense, right? Imagine having 4 out of your 5 core pieces signed on to at least 6 years each. Speaking about Toronto, it couldn't be them, right? Either way, all Toronto Maple Leafs jokes aside, let's go out there and finish off the rest of the quotes from this article. Kent Hughes then goes out there and finishes things off talking about Kirby Dach. There's no doubt that as an athlete, when you go through these injuries, it gets demoralizing at some point, and it's tough mentally, Hughes said. I think Kirby did a good job knowing his season was over, the coaching staff tried to keep him involved, and we felt like Kirby cared. He would watch games and get upset when we weren't playing well. He would come to us and have his own thoughts about our team and share them with the coaching staff. From a medical standpoint, he's doing well and feels great. We hope he took the time in the press box to learn things about the game that you don't get to see when you're out there on the ice all the time. I think he did that, and we're looking forward to picking him up where he left off last year. And finally, these are the last comments made by Kent Hughes in this article. We're looking forward to seeing that progression in our young players, and we're obviously hoping that injuries will be a bit easier for us this year, but we're also looking at some veterans who have been with us for a long time. If we just operate based on the future, it could get very difficult for the vets. That's going to be a challenge for the coaching staff and for the whole organization. So don't worry, Brendan Gallagher, don't worry, Josh Anderson. It's not like Kent Hughes has forgotten about you. And of course, I mean, it's necessary to think about it like that. I mean, the team was built off the backs of these vets, and you had the Shea Weber influence, and Brendan Gallagher, I think, is the main dude that embodies that style. So him still being here, I'm in Vancouver. Montreal's on the other side of the gosh darn continent. But you get what I mean, right? Kent Hughes still paying respect to the guys on his team who have worked the longest. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Kent Hughes and the recent comments he had made about Juraj Slafkovsky, Kaiden Guhle, Kirby Dach, not Newhook, we didn't talk about Newhook in this video, Caulfield, Suzuki, and everybody else in between? What are your thoughts on the expectations that Kent Hughes has for Slafkovsky? Of course, he's saying that 40, 50 goals is not going to be a necessary expectation there, but realistically, instead, what do you think should be the mark here for Juraj Slafkovsky? Is it 25 goals and 30 assists? Is it a 30 and 35 season? Maybe he gets 60, 70 points. Who really knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How does this fit in with the Caulfield-Suzuki duo as well? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.